Okay, last class we have uh, dealt with management and marketing. Now we will be seeing some issues in finance and accounting, and as well as production and operation, research and development, and management information system. And there is nothing new uh, today, but there are some questions uh, for which you have to answer. Just like in management, we have constructed some big list of questions. Similarly, in the marketing, we have almost a dozen of questions. And today we will be doing in marketing and finance. And here we had finished our last lecture. Let me admit some more people. Okay. Financial condition is often considered the single best measure of the firm's competitive position and overall attractiveness to investor. Uh, Determining an organization's financial strengths and weaknesses is essential to effectively formulating strategies. A firm's liquidity leverages, working capital, profitability, asset utilization, cash flow, and equity can eliminate some strategies as being feasible alternatives. Financial factors often alter existing strategies and change implementations plan. And summarily, I can say that the financial position is the very key position of any firm to direct about the strategies, to give guidelines about the strategies. Many existing strategies twist just due to the financial position of the firm. When we are dealing the finance of any organization, what do we mean? What do we mean? In fact, obviously, I'm not teaching you the finance and accounting because it is a bigger science. It's a very different science. But there are some key issues in the finance regarding the strengths and weaknesses of organization. When the finance term is being called on, it comprises three main decisions: the investment decisions, financing decisions, and dividend decisions. The investment decision is also called capital budgeting, and it is the decisions where the allocation and reallocation of capital and resources to the project, product, assets, and divisions of the organization. It means that if some organization is doing capital budgeting, it means this firm wants to allocate resources, wants to uh, um, reallocate the capitals into some projects, into some products, in some new assets, in some divisions. You want to put more investments. So you might be having some different options. You might be having some plan of getting return of from the investment. So obviously you will choose the best option or best alternative among many. So by choosing this many alternatives, so obviously you go through some technical handling in finance, and all these thing comes into investment decisions. Probably in one day you will decide that we would go for the new ventures. That is in a strategy. On one other day you will decide to uh, uh, put your money more to the public sector projects rather than private projects. This is in a strategy. Or you want to introduce, or if you want to initiate some new projects instead of investing in the older one. So that is again the investment decisions. It also comes under the capital budgeting process. So this is investment decisions. Other is financing decisions to determine the best capital structure for the firms and includes examining various methods by which the firm can raise the capital. It is also the allocation, the reallocation of the resources, but here you are going to establish some of capital structure where you um, want to raise funds. So obviously for raising funds, you have two options, or maybe many options, but I'm just saying about the two options. One, either you get some people to invest in your firm and be the partner or be the shareholder of your firm. So that is one method to increase your funds, because obviously I want to expand my business. So for expansion of my business, need more money, and I have not that much money. So what do? I would like to make some more partners. I would like to make some more shareholders in my firm. So this is one. This is first method to raise the fund for my organization, that to call upon some shareholders by selling my company's shares. Or the other way is that I may take money as borrow, as a debt. I may borrow from some people. What is the difference between these two processes? Because the two processes are different. When I make people shareholder in my firm, so I'm liable to them profit against profit, and they are willing to share my losses as well. So that has become equity kind of a investment, or equity kind of uh, um, practice, equity market, what we say, or equity investment, what we say. That I'm calling upon the people who want to invest in my organization. I want them to be shareholder. So it means that I'm convincing them to be a part of my profit and loss. If I get the profit, they will get again the profit. But if I would get in loss, so they would share with me in the losses. So this is what we call an equity finance. Another method is to take debt, or to borrow money. In borrowing, it is my liability to repay all the money, at least principal one, by all hooks and crooks. No matter I am getting loss or profit, I have to pay back them their amount. If I'm getting profit and huge profits, so they are not concerned to my profit, they are concerned to their own money, plus the interest I have been promised to them. Or if I am getting losses, so again, they are not concerned with my losses. They will get their principal money, and as well as the interest what I'm supposed to pay them according to the agreement. So this is the basic difference between the equity finance and uh, um, what we say, debt finance. In equity finance, I make people shareholder in my firm, and they share in profits and losses of the organization. And in debt finance, I borrow money from the people, and I have to pay back all the principal amount, and as well as the interest if I've made some promises, without thinking that I'm getting profit or losses. So this is what we call a debt finance. So this decision, that how much money should I get from the equity finance and how much money I should get from the debt finance, that decision is called financing decision. In fact, this is called capital structure. So capital structure tells you that how much money is being invested by you, by your shareholders, by the creditors. The creditors are those who are giving you the money in form of lending. So there are three kind of stakeholders, direct stakeholders to you. One is yourself, who have invested your own money. Other is the shareholders who have invested in your organization for the sake of profits, and as well as they will be sharing the loss. And the third one is the person who have lended you the money. You have borrowed money from him. So that is called debt financing. So this kind of decision, that how much money I should get from myself, from the shareholders, and from the debt market. So these decisions are called financing decisions. I cannot explain more than that because this is not the finance class, in fact. Okay, dividend decisions. Uh, as you know that in my organization, many people have invested money. So when I get profit from the out of that money, so that profit definitely would be distributed among the shareholders. Definitely the people who have invested money into my shares, who have bought my shares, so they are they are supposed to get profit from my profits. So the decision that how much profit I would distribute among the shareholders, that distributed profit is called dividend. How much I would pay from my profits, how much percentage should I pay from my profit to the shareholder. So obviously, this is my decision to pay them the profits. Now, what ratio of the profit would be distributed? So that is my decision. If I'm getting 100 rupees as a net profit, so it doesn't mean that 100 rupees entirely would be distributed to the shareholders. No, definitely not. Out of that 100 rupees, some portion would be distributed to the shareholders, and some portion would be taken into account of the organization. So that's why the profit that is being distributed to the shareholders, that is called dividends. And the profit which is not distributed, or which is not given to the shareholder, that is being kept by the firm or by the company, that is called corporate profit, or uh, 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 not distributed profit, undistributed profit. So let's say if just think that if I am having some 5 partners, and I earn profit. So what do you see that how much partners would be distributing the profit? One me, 5 my partners. So 6 are there, but the profit would be distributed in 7 parts, because one part would be definitely for me. I'm running the business. I owe the business. The second part would be distributed among the shareholders, the 5 partners, 5 shareholders who have invested their money into my business. So one for me and 5 for them, and one is for company, for itself, because company or organization needs to be reinvested. So for that, for the company, for the corporate profit, that portion which is not distributed to the shareholder, it is used. So concern issues such as the percentage of the earning paid to the stockholders and the stability of the dividend paid over the time. Obviously, I would be paying that distributed profit or dividends after every time interval, either after a quarter or after a year. Normally, the dividends are paid after a year. So that dividend should be stable, because the financial stability requires that the dividend policy or dividend ratio should be very stable, because stable dividend ratios would create your good repute in the market, because in some period you are paying huge profits, and another period you cannot pay the profit. So that huge variation in the profits or dividends, that that destroy the image of the organization. So it's better to have some stable kind of a policy, that the investor is very much ready, willingly ready to have some changes, and the new investor are having more confidence on such kind of organization whose dividend policy is very stable or dividend ratios are very stable. They are not fluctuating too much in the range. Dividend decisions determine the amount of the fund that are retained in the firms compared to the amount paid out to the stockholders. So that is what that was I was asking. I was telling you that some portion is being distributed and some portion is not distributed to the firm, to their stakeholders. That is being retained by the organization. No, the questions are these. If you remember that we have gone through questions. So 9 questions are there. I've taken just only 9 questions. You may create more than them. You may create more than them, but right now I've just created 9 questions out of many. Now you can see that the following financing or account questions, like the similar question about the marketing management earlier, should be examined. Where is the firm financially strong and weak, as indicated by the financial ratios analysis? There are so many financial ratios by which you can analyze your financial positioning. Can the firm raise needed short-term capital? There are 2 kinds of a capital: short-term capital and long-term capital. Short-term capital is that one where you raise the fund and use that fund for the shorter period of time, might be for 3 months or 6 months or less than 1 year, and you pay back that amount of investment within 1 year to the investor. Or you have needed some long-term capital. You take money from the people for the longer time, might be for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years projects. And that long-term capital is being again taken through either debt market or through equity market, and I have explained already to you. Does the firm have sufficient working capital? Working capital is that one where you go through some day-to-day routine kind of activities. So that amount of capital which is being required for the day-to-day routine functions, so these are called working capital. Are capital budgeting procedure effective? If you remember that capital budgeting, I have explained here, when you were deciding about where to invest your money. So if that decision was effective, that you have chosen the best alternate, so that obviously very much important decision. So if that decision is effective, that procedure is effective, you cannot take a wrong decision. Are dividends payout policy reasonable? Are you paying good dividend ratios? Are you paying good percentage of profit to your stakeholders? So that is very much important question, because your good and healthy dividend ratios would create your market value in the stock market. Then more people would be coming to you for investing their money. And does the firm have good relation with the investor and stakeholders? Obviously, the good relation makes again having a very sound effect on the company's repute. Are the firm's financial manager experienced and well trained? Definitely, this is very much important question, because if you have good personnel, well-trained personnel, well-trained managers for financing decisions, it means that your financial position supposed to be very strong. And is the firm debt situation excellent? Debt situation is excellent means that if you have taken borrowed money, so are you able to repay that borrowed money or that indebtedness to the stakeholders? Can you are you coming perfect in replying or in responding those people from whom you have borrowed money, because obviously you have made some kind of agreement that please give me that money and I would pay you quarterly or annually this much of amount. So if you are coming with your agreement, then obviously your debt situation is excellent. But if you're taking too much debt, you have taken too much debt that should not be uh, uh, taken. So that situation would not be a good situation. So all these kind of issues, I'm confused that there's some kind of terms and terms which I can explain, but it requires huge time to explain, because that is a finance issue. So that's why I'm just being confusing that whether you're taking these terms or not. But uh, the main thing is financial ratios. Through financial ratios, your debt situation is clearly explained. Through financial ratios, your good relation or ship is also explained. From the financial ratios, there are many more things which you can uh, uh, analyze. What those financial ratios are? In that ratios, the most used ratios are some like liquidity ratios. Now, what is liquidity? It is firm's ability to meet its short-term obligations. Obviously, you have to pay money on day-to-day basis. So day-to-day basis, if you need money, it means that you need some liquid cash with you in your drawers. Obviously, if I am having a 1 million rupee and if I invest all entire 1 million rupee into assets, it means that I am not taking any cash in my hand. It is not a good thing. Out of 1 million, might be that I must be investing 90%, and 10% I'm taking as a hot cash. So that makes the liquidity ratio that I'm having some cash for meeting day-to-day obligation, short-term obligations. And that those ratios are current ratios or quick ratios. I would not be going into detail of the finance because it requires a bigger calculation, but I'm just explaining these main terms, liquidity ratios. As I told you about that, I must be having some ready cash in my hand, in my drawers, just to meet day-to-day obligations. So if I'm having good amount of money, so that is called a liquidity ratio. Obviously, that must be kind of a percentage, because when the ratio term is being used, it means that I'm talking about the percentage. So so some percentage I should be keeping money for the day-to-day obligation. That ratio would not be that much high. It doesn't mean that out of 1 million, 50 million, 50% you're keeping money in form of a cash. That is not a good decision. This would not be right thing. If some firms is having 40%, 30% as a liquidity ratio, I would not be investing money into that firm, because the bigger ratio of that the money is being kept by the firm idle. It is not a good thing. Yes, 3%, 2%, 5%, 10%, whatever the market situation allows you, you can keep money. So liquidity ratios, if too much high or if too much low, the both conditions are not good. Let's say if someone say that my firm is having 1% liquidity ratio, it means that you have too much less money. Might be you cannot in position to meet day-to-day or short-term obligation with the little amount of money. So you must keep some reasonable amount, not too much, not too low, to keep this day-to-day obligations. So liquidity ratios also shows your strengths and positions. Leverages ratios, if you remember that the debt financing I have discussed, how much debt you're taking. So that makes some kind of a percentage. So debt percentage is all is obviously coming under the leverages ratios. But that debt is being analyzed by different assets, like mean total assets. If you are investing completely 1 million rupees into some project, and in that 1 million total assets, uh, 0.6 million you are taking from debt. It means 60% of your total assets is taken from borrowed money. It is not good. It is not good. Definitely not good. That you are running a business with higher debt to total asset ratio, 60%. So that also gives you some position. Similarly, debt to equity ratio, that how much the money you have taken from equity and how much you are taking from debt. So you can calculate them comparatively, and you can calculate the percentage as well. Let's say if you have uh, gathered money from the shareholders who are purchasing your share, equity market. So 200,000 rupees you are taking from equity market, and similarly 200,000 rupees you are taking from the borrowed money. So it means that debt to equity ratio is 1, because 200 divided by 200 is equal to 1. 200 rupees you are taking from the borrowing, and 200 rupees you are taking from the shareholders. So 2 by 2 is becomes equal to 1. So that one is also sound something. It may be good, it may be not good. So now what is good and what is not good, obviously that is a different story of the finance issues. I think that you might be having some knowledge of the finance, or you might be having some other some uh, when you will be dealing cost management, so might be having some knowledge from that area. And similarly, long-term debts are there, short-term debts are there. So you can again calculate the percentage from the long-term debt with the equity. Time interest earned. So that is again a ratio. And again, I'm telling you that I would not be explaining these ratios, because it's not limited to these 4 only, because in leverages ratios, there are many other ratios as well. But you need to know that what the leverage is being used for the debt ratios. Now that debt can be analyzed by the assets, can be analyzed comparatively by the equity. You can assess the long-term debts, you can assess the short-term debts with your equity and assets. So there are so many matching issues in the finance. Activity ratio. The activity, you know that the current activity, what you are functioning are, what is going to happen in the firm on day-to-day basis. There are inventory, you are managing inventory, you have invested some money into inventory as well. Inventory is that term which is being used for those assets which is not uh, uh, what you can say, that which is not for sale, but that might be in your storehouse, that stuff which is being kept in the storehouse that not offer for sale. So that storehouse kind of a facility provide you that for some time you keep your product, or you keep your some physical assets idle for some time. So that become an inventory. So if you keep some your physical assets idle, it means that you have blocked your money. So in inventories, you are blocking your money. So too much inventory ratio, that is not again good. Similarly, the fixed assets turnover, total assets turnover, account receivable, average collection period. So all these have different definitions and different kind of calculations. And again, these ratios are not limited to these five. It may be more than them. So activity ratios is actually said what you are doing right now and how much money you are playing with within this day-to-day operations. Profitability ratio, these are the very much important because most of occasion the profitability ratios are taken as the key point of the strength and weakness of the firm. How much profit you are getting, how much profit margins are good or not. So obviously in profit, again, we may calculate in different ways. Gross profit margin, you can operating profit margin, you can net profit margin, return on total assets, return on equity, return on investment. Normally in profitability ratios, this ROE, ROA, and ROI are mostly used. Return on stockholder and return on equity. So all these are actually the percentages you calculate for the profits in different ways, in different terms. If you're getting good, so these profits, obviously high ratios are being praised, high ratios are being looked for. I've told you that in activity ratios, neither too much high is good or neither too much low is good. In leverage ratios, too much high is again not good, too much low is again not good. In liquidity ratios, again, I have told you that too much low and too much high, both are not good. But in the profitability ratios, high ratios are always demanding because this is only pure profits. So after that, the last one is growth ratios. The firm is being growing or not. Firm sales are being growing, net income is growing, earning per share is growing, dividend per share is growing. So all these things are taken into consideration while talking about the finance and accounting. So these ratios obviously shows people the true picture of any organization, any project. So any question out of this finance and accounting side? Otherwise, I would go to the last two slides and finishing the lecture. Production and operation. Again, in production and operation, you may have different kind of questions within the processes, within capacity, inventory, workforce, quality. There are too many questions can be taken from the processes. There are too many questions can be taken from the capacity, aggregate planning, scheduling, capacity planning, queuing analysis, and so many more things. So many questions you can take from the inventory side, work in process, finished good, especially considering whole what to order, when to order, how much to order, because you have kept some physical assets into your go down, into your store house. So you have to take decision about them. Similarly, the workforce is there because production and operation obviously is blessed with the workforce as well. And similarly, the quality issues again. So you can make so many questions out of these issues because, sorry, these issues are mainly concerned to the production and operation. And out of these issues, I have only just made some 6 questions only. You can make more than them. But I have made only 6 questions for you to reply in assignment. Are the supplies of raw material, parts, and sub assemblies reliable and reasonable? Are facilities, equipment, machinery, and offices are good condition? Are inventory control policies and procedure effective? So all these 6 questions should be asked by your manager for your organization. Again, the answer of these questions would decide about your strengths and weakness. If you say yes, so it is not only to say yes. You have to, if you're working professionally, so you have to provide a concrete documentary proof as well. Anyway, Similar questions you can take from the research and development area. You know what the research and development area is. That is an integral part of any organization, should be integral part of any organization nowadays. You must keep working on the research and development. And from the research and development, you can keep busy by the two ways. Either you establish your own research and development department, which is called internal R&D, or for research and development, you can take some help or some outsourcing to any third firm. So that is called contract R&D. So through which manner you are doing internal R&D or contract R&D, in both way, the good thing is that you're doing R&D. And these are 7 questions from R&D should be asked from. Okay, there's 1 minute left for ending this session. And if I got disconnected, I would immediately reconnect to wind up this session. I would be taking some 5 or 10 minutes more. But if I'm disconnected, meanwhile, I'll be coming back again. Okay. I was talking about the research and development, and no matter you are doing R&D internally or you have gone for contract, in both ways, you must go for the research and development. And these 7 questions should be asked from your firm or organization. Does the firm have R&D facilities? Are they adequate? If outside R&D firms are used, are they cost effective? Are the organization's R&D personnel well qualified? Are R&D resources allocated effectively? Are management information and computer system adequate? Is communication between R&D and other organization units are effective? Are present product technologically competitive or not? So all these questions can be answered through research and development wing, because there you may have some competent people, you may have some learned people who can collect data, who can analyze data. So there are qualified people. So you must answer these questions for your organization in an assignment. You can just say yes or no in assignment, but in the fact, you must go for the documentary proof as well. But here I am just asking you for answering these questions in form of yes or no. And the last area is management information system. Sorry, this is management system. I think this is being mistaken, because this is the same slide here I have told you, but the heading is something different. Okay. Management information system. Information ties all business functions together and provide the business for all manager decisions. It is the cornerstone of all organization. Information represent the major source of competitive management advantages and disadvantages. Definitely, nowadays communication is the basic tool, and the firm who has good communication system, so it means that firm is definitely having competitive advantage over the all of the firm. But if the the firm is not having good communication system, so there a lot of problems can be arise due to this discomfort. Now the questions again here, the 10 questions being constructed, and you can ask by your firm. Do all managers in the firm use the information system to make decisions? Is there any chief information officer or director of information system position in the firm? Are data in the information system updated regularly? Do managers from all functional areas of the firm contribute input to the information system? Are there effective passwords or entries for entry into the firm's information system? Are strategies of the firm familiar with the information system of the rival firm? That is most important question. Is the information system user friendly? Do all users of the information system understand the competitive advantage that information can provide firms? Are computer training workshops provided for users of the information system? Is the firm's information system continually being improved in the content and user friendliness? So all these questions should be asked clearly with your managers, and if you find these answers in with the satisfactory responses, so that is good for you, and that may create some good strength. Otherwise, if you find something new or in something in not going in favor of organization, so this is an alarming situation then. So my dear fellows, these were the questions you are going to be answer for your organization, and that is leave it the rest slides, the last two one, we will do it in the chapter number 6, inshallah. So this is the last slide, and I would request to all of you to take these questions seriously and ask all the questions what we have done through management to the management information system. So if you are successful in getting good replies and good responses of all these questions, you can create a good analysis of your organization. And it would be so much better if you take answers with documentary proof. It is not required by me. It is not requirement of the assignment, but it is for yourself only. If you want to be a professional analyst of your organization, so you must go for the documentary evidences of each question. So it is a matter of interest. It is a matter of what we can say, matter of job, that you are being given such kind of responsibility to analyze your firm. If you are in such a position, if you are in such a position into your organization that you had to analyze your firm, so now from now on, just change the methodology of analysis. Come toward this strategic side, because this kind of analysis would make a clear picture of your organization, that where the organization is good and where the bad. So that's how a good analyst goes for analysis. So this is all about for today's lecture, and the video of this lecture would be provided to you. And